In 1989, a white woman was violently raped and attacked in Central Park. 5 Black boys were later tried and convicted of the crime. The teens became known as the Central Park Five. In this episode of Culture Conversations, I talked to Dr. Yosef Salaam, now part of the Exonerated Five, about his journey to regain his life and what steps America can take to overcome racism.
Who you were in the park with?
I don't know names. I just got lost.
Where did you see the lady?
One lady.
The female jogger was severely beaten and raped. Every black male who was in the park last night is a suspect. I need all of them.
Ava DuVernay told the story of the Central Park Five in the Netflix series When They See Us. For those who don't know, can you share a little bit about your story?
My story starts about 31 years ago with the unfortunate incident that happened called the Central Park Jogger case. We were falsely accused of raping a white woman in Central Park, and subsequently we went to prison for that crime that we didn't commit. We spent between 13 to 14 years in prison until the truth came out. In the process of all of this happening, 2 weeks after we were accused in 1989, we were also vilified in the media on a new level, in that Donald Trump, who would later become the president of the United States, took out a full-page ad in New York City's newspaper calling for the reinstatement of the death penalty, specifically for our case. He took $85,000 of his own money paying for the ad rather, that basically said that they needed to reinstate the death penalty specifically for our case. And it kind of opened the door to the darkest enclaves of society, where we quickly became known as the modern day Scottsboro Boys. We were also known in the same fashion as Emmett Till, because people began to write in the papers, like people like Pat Buchanan. He wrote, "Hey, let's just hang the eldest one and horsewhip the others, and let's do this by June 1st. And so there was no ability for the justice system to be just, with regards to us. We were looked at as guilty and had to prove ourselves innocent, as opposed to what the system says. And so here we are 31 years later, really seeing more of the struggle for human rights and justice, not only in America, but in the world. But on the heels of atrocities like George Floyd, on the heels of atrocities like Breonna Taylor, so many others, that we have a laundry list of names of folks that are known, that have been legally lynched, and people that have not necessarily been as known that have also been legally lynched.
Why are they doing us like this?
What other way they ever do us?
Your life now is an inspiration. You went from being wrongly convicted to, spending years in prison for a crime you didn't commit, and now you are using that experience to motivate others. How are you able to move on?
Becoming full circle known as the Exonerated Five. I remember the moment we were rebranded by Oprah. And I always say it was the Oprah Winfrey Show. Being on stage with Oprah, being on stage with my brothers, the Exonerated Five, and Ava, was a tremendous opportunity. It was us being given our roses as we live. And the way that I've been able to move on is one foot in front of the other. I often think about personalities, great personalities, influential personalities like Nelson Mandela, who said being angry and bitter is like drinking poison and expecting your enemy to die. Who also said that he had to leave those things, the anger and the bitterness in prison, because if he took it outside with him, it would destroy him. And then I remember hearing the words of Dr. Maya Angelou, who is a great influencer of mine. She said, "You should be angry, but you must not be bitter. Bitterness is like a cancer. It eats upon the host. It doesn't do anything to the object of its displeasure." Then she teaches us how to become alchemists. She teaches us how to take the lemon in life and make lemonade. She teaches us how to become the example of what Cardi B, the great philosopher, said: fall down 9 times, get up 10.
Down 9 times, but I get up 10.
How have you been able to regain trust in the criminal justice system, or have you regained trust?
When I first saw the video of Ahmaud Arbery, I was let down again. Here we are in America. here we are supposed to be appreciating the pursuit of happiness. And we continue to wake up to the American nightmare. You know, that was so horrific that it took me a while to even see. And to watch George Floyd be murdered on TV in such a cavalier manner, crying out for his mother in the last moments of his life, was horrific. It's very difficult to look at the criminal justice system as just. When we see laws that are on the books that allow for the killers of Breonna Taylor to remain free, when we see laws on the books that allow for the killer of Trayvon Martin to have not gone to prison for that horrific incident, you know, we see these types of things happen over and over and over again, and we hold our breaths, wanting justice, waiting for justice. And oftentimes, if there is any justice, it's a slap on the wrist. The laws that are applied to us are not applied to those who are supposed to protect and serve us. And I feel like when things go wrong, people who are there to protect and serve us should be held to the same law as we are held to. And so I don't have hope in the current system as it is. I have hope in where we are trying to push the system to go.
I need you to understand how painful it is to be reminded every day that your race means nothing. And that isn't the case anymore.
Were you surprised at the reaction that the world really had to what happened to George Floyd?
I was surprised, I would say, and I was also inspired by the global outpouring of love and appreciation and support. Because what I knew very, very clearly was that oppression is real all throughout the world. White supremacy, white male dominance is real all throughout the world. The people with the darker skin are always the ones who are somehow pushed to the bottom. And the worst part about it is that it gives everyone a false sense that because you're born with darker skin, that you somehow don't have the ability to perform at the top levels. And the truth of the matter is that you do, which is, I think, why there's been a concerted effort to keep people on the bottom, you know. But the love and support and echoes of Black Lives Matter to be present in the world, to vibrate around the world, was inspiring, is inspiring. And I think it gives us tremendous hope in knowing that the future is alive and well.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Please tell them whatever you like.
You called for Amy Cooper, the woman who called the police on the Black man in Central Park, to be prosecuted. You know, is it safe to assume that something like that was triggering for you or brought back painful memories?
Yeah, you know, when I saw Amy Cooper lying on video about what she was experiencing, and we all were looking at the video like, she's not talking about what we're watching right now. We were afraid for the dog, right? The dog was being hung, you know? But what it reminded me of was Emmett Till. It reminded me of this false accusation that he whistled at a white woman. It said that when they cry, we die. And that's the worst part about it all. The beautiful thing was that there was video in this case. There was an ability for this story to be quickly solved, as opposed to him being chased and hunted and then ultimately legally lynched because of her false accusation. And so it was very triggering. It was more triggering too because it happened in Central Park. You know, it was frightening in many ways, because you would think that we have been past that 30 years later, 31 years later. But the truth of the matter is that we all have PTSD. That PTSD shows up in many ways. It could show up when, you know, we see a cop car get behind us on the highway or on the streets. It definitely shows up when that cop car's lights turn on. You know, our hearts beat a lot faster. we would get very, very nervous. We try to remember what we were told to do. Where should we put our hands? How do we live? How do we conduct ourselves so that we can live tomorrow? This is all the things that happen. It's very triggering.
I understand that you are a motivational speaker and you write poetry. Is there anything that you can leave us with?
Yeah, I love planting seeds of wisdom in the hearts and minds of our future. Our challenge has always been to live full so that you can die empty. And in poetry, I will impart these words to you. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. I can remember when that statement made me sad inside, too young to be in it. Now I couldn't even see it. Why? Why couldn't a revolution be televised? The last poets, Gil Scott-Heron. As I grew up, I began to see. They left theirs, and I too wanted to leave a mark on history. A man in half, and I wanted to bask in that task that set men free. But a revolution, the revolution, is where I knew I had to be. The revolution will not be televised. They didn't want to display the victory of those quote unquote lesser men. The revolution will not be televised. Smile. I know, because I am the revolution.
So before I was an artist, I used to be a singer, and the music industry is a tough industry. It's really hard on your self-esteem. It's a lot of grueling hours, and I kind of just wanted to try something to de-stress. So I went to the art store, I got some art supplies, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll start to paint something just to, like every other adult, sip and paint, So I painted Barack Obama when he was running for president, and I was just kind of like, dang, I'm pretty good. And then I just kind of stuck to it, and I quit singing and I focused on my art career. And it was really, really hard for a long time, but then I just stuck to it, and here we are. So lately I've been kind of paying homage to the Black Lives Matter movement in some of my work. I wouldn't say that my style has changed much, but I just kind of wanted people to know what side I stand on. But I've always painted people who I'm inspired by, and I've always been inspired by African-American icons. So I've been painting African-American icons for years. I just think that people are becoming more educated and are kind of gravitating towards African-American artists and African-American business. And I don't know, I think it's really cool. I'm inspired by music and by literature and movies and, pop culture. And so I kind of paint who I really, really like. I know that's a kind of a plain answer, but it's the truth. I paint people who I like and people who I'm inspired by. And that's kind of how I choose who I'm gonna paint. Also, sometimes I'll choose people based on their look, and I know that that's gonna translate well to art. So Einstein, I know he has a really cool look, so I enjoy painting him. Or Muhammad Ali, I really enjoy painting him, so I paint him a lot. Or Heath Ledger, I really enjoy painting him, so I paint him a lot. So there's some people that I repeat because I just enjoy their look and the way it translates into art. But other than that, it's just pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. I just kind of paint people who I like. I kind of paint for the people, for the general public, not really for the art world. Because, I don't know, I feel like in the art world, some of the art is really tough even for me to understand. I'll see a piece that has a line and a circle, and I don't get that, So I try to do work that regular people like, and I do work that regular people respond well to. And that is what kind of pushes me. And because I paint for the people give back to me, and it's been just a constant positive cycle, and I'm just really blessed and I'm really lucky. You can call me at 1-800, I'm just kidding. So if you don't know who I am and you want to see my work, you can contact me at theprettyartist.com, or you can see the majority of my work on Instagram, The Pretty Artist.
And that will do it for us. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and keep the conversation going. Let us know how we're doing. Drop us an email. We'd be glad to hear from you.